Welcome, and this is the 40-something Guy podcast. Hi, and thank you for listening to the show. Today, I'm talking to Dr. Karine Sa. Karine is a graduate of the Catholic University of Goiás in Brazil, holding a biomedicine degree, followed by a master's degree in molecular biology from the University of São Paulo, also in Brazil. From there, she went to Germany to take her PhD in molecular medicine from the University of Freiburg. As a musician, Karine learned to play the piano from an early age, and as a singer, she went on to performing musicals, plays, and concerts with the spiritist group Gang Group, Arte Nascente, all over Brazil and in Miami, and she sang professionally at 2 Brazilian symphony choirs. She moved to Europe in 2006 and continued working with medical education and singing as a soloist and as part of choirs and ensembles in Germany, Spain, and the UK. Currently, she's based in London and she is a member of the London Philharmonic Choir. Karine, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, we have a lot to talk about. We've been talking a lot already. So, tell me about a bit about your profession and how you came to be.
So, as you mentioned, I graduated in biomedicine in Brazil. As we talked before, the equivalent in the UK would be biomedical sciences. Mm-hmm. So, I learned all kinds of clinical analysis that one can do in the lab. And then I specialized in molecular biology, and this was before my master's. And I had the honor to participate in the Human Cancer Genome Project.
Oh, wow.
It was right after the genome had been codified, so there was this boom in the year 2000. Mm-hmm. Now I just revealed my age. They were all talking about DNA and codifying the genome, and I joined this project about the cancer genome. So what is the difference between the profile of a healthy patient versus tumors, cells, and put together how what would define the genetic profile of a person to develop certain kind of cancer. It was amazing, and from that I did my master's in melanoma. So we chose one of the cancer types, and it was amazing because the University of São Paulo is the most prestigious one in Latin America, and I had a fellowship from FAPESP, is the founding institution. Also very, very difficult to get, and I got it.
Nice, well done.
So thank you. So I was very proud of it, and then ultimately I moved to Germany to pursue my PhD. Was not very straightforward as one may think, because...
Well, I guess learning German wasn't that easy, was it?
It was not, but it was not the most difficult part.
Oh, was it not? What was the most difficult part then?
Well, the culture adaptation. I had many cultural shocks, and I'm sure I shocked many Germans the way I am. And also, I started a PhD also in cancer. It was about prostate cancer and epigenetics. It was moving away from the DNA itself, because we study in science that we have influence from nature and nurture. So nature is your genetic profile, and the nurture is the environment.
Oh.
So if you sleep well, if you eat well, if you practice exercise, if you put the right vitamins in your body, then you are nurturing your cells in that way. You can expand to positive thinking and so on, the list goes on. Mm-hmm. But this is called epigenetics, which is around the genetics. And my first PhD was about that.
Wow.
But for many reasons, I had to stop, and I started a new one in systems biology in the Institute of Molecular Medicine. So we studied the liver and the many functions. So I went away from cancer and I studied the physiology and the healthy human liver.
Right.
And it was funny because sometimes I felt I was in an episode of The Big Bang Theory, this show where there are physicists, because we had everything that we did on the bench in the lab, all the experiments.
Don't tell me they recreated on the TV.
No. They recreated in the computer. So physicists and mathematicians, they created mathematical models and statistics and lots of things that are beyond my comprehension, but then they brought it back to us and we would prove their theories.
Oh, I see.
So I really had a lot of contacts with physicists and the way they think, and it is really another world.
Wow.
So they have a good way of showing this in the TV show.
Yeah.
They think all day long. That's their job. They think.
Which is not quite true, is it?
Actually, it is. They sit there. Sometimes they play ping pong, and then they play video games, and then they come back to work and think a bit more.
Well, so I'm sure it was nice to see this sort of thing being portrayed on television.
Of course, yes. I had a lot of fun, yeah.
But at the moment, what are you doing at the moment? Because you're not doing the research at the moment, are you?
No, I did research for about 12 years after I graduated, but then I decided to move to a more practical way to help people.
In what way?
In the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, okay.
And in clinical trials. Because I thought, well, it's great that I'm doing all this breakthrough research and these experiments is amazing, but if I discover something that is great for humanity, maybe if I'm super lucky in 30 years or 50 years, this will become something concrete to help people. So I thought if I join pharmaceutical industry, then I could help them like in real time. And so after my PhD, I did another postgraduate course, this time in clinical trial management in Berlin. So I moved to Berlin and I did the whole course in German. It was the first course that I attended in Germany in my life.
Right.
Very proud of that.
Wow.
Yeah, so made amazing friends there as well, and joined CRO. It's a contract research organization where they do everything for the pharma industry. They set up clinical trials. They prepare the documents to be authorized in the FDA, the EMA, and all the local authorities all over the world. And that's what I started doing. After that, I moved towards medical education and patient education. Again, with this goal in mind that what I do can help someone today and not in decades
10 years,
from now.
20 years down the line.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So now I'm a consultant for the pharma industry. I give workshops for consultants, training on different medicines. Also top-notch medicines. Sometimes you have this super specific antibody for an autoimmune disease. Or you have, that is very in vogue now, this immuno-oncology approaches where you use your own blood cells to attack the cancer cells in your own body.
Oh, wow.
So I train people on these topics in a very scientific level.
Yeah.
But equally, I help healthcare practitioners in understanding complex things in a less complex way. And also patients.
Okay, yes, of course. Because they are the ones at the end of the line receiving all these treatments, right?
Of course. And
dealing with the side effects, perhaps.
Yes, absolutely. So we cover everything. And once you have, you prepare the documents to have something licensed, of course, there are some topics that you have to look at, the efficacy, the safety, everything that you have to cover. And these documents, they have hundreds of pages. So you need to know how to break it down in a way that is useful for them. So I am this person doing the bridge between super complex and lots of information to what is practical, what is useful for me today.
Yeah. So then picking up on that you were saying about the cancer, and perhaps you're in the best position to tell me this. Are we near a cure for cancer?
Oh, I don't know if I'm the person to answer you that. What I can say is that for a long time now, people are looking in very deep ways to tackle this, and this is not a simple thing like, oh, I found this dot is wrong, let's correct this specific dot. It is a lot of things together. So once you look at many, many things and then you put the puzzle together, then you can
start tackling the problem.
Exactly, yeah.
I can imagine, because of course there isn't just one type of cancer. There are many types of cancers that perhaps behave and act in different ways, and
Absolutely.
so it's not just one recipe kills them all. I'm sure.
Of course, not at all. For example, from my master's that we looked at melanoma, we looked at one specific marker that we detected in the screening from the Human Cancer Genome Project.
Right.
We saw that every time we had melanoma cells versus normal cells, this specific gene was wrong, let's say, in quotation marks.
Yeah.
So we looked at different stages of skin cells. So normal skin cells, stage 1 of cancer cells in the melanoma, and advanced melanoma, where it would metastasize and really become cancer. And we saw that the more advanced the stage, the more you saw this overexpression of the wrong protein.
Right.
So this can serve as a marker to say, well, if you have melanoma, this is where you have to look at. Because maybe this protein is the one that makes a normal cell become a tumor and become a cancer.
I see.
So if
follows a pattern.
Exactly. So if you stop it at the beginning, you don't develop.
Right.
But this is only one marker. It might be that this marker is only there in one specific race, or because the person, I don't know. So there's so many factors that come into play that you cannot just say.
And nurture as well, as you said before.
Exactly.
So not just the person, but the environment can play a role and then activate that marker. Oh gosh, yeah.
Because genes, they are switched on and off. So even if you have, let's say, in quotation marks, a wrong gene, and you don't switch it on, you don't have the problem.
No.
Yeah. But it's not simple to say, okay, so gene, stay quiet. It is not like this. There's so many factors. And now what is happening in science, we are coming closer to other disciplines, for example, artificial intelligence.
Yes.
There was an article the other day saying that they use machine learning to help radiologists to interpret CTs and X-rays from breasts, for example, to see if in early stages you could see something that could be cancer or not. And so they use this artificial intelligence in our favor. So I believe that we have lots of good tools and good people working together to tackle this. Absolutely.
So perhaps my assumptions that a cure for cancer hasn't been found because of the big pharmaceutical companies profiting from the sale of cancerous drugs is wrong?
I don't know. I don't know what are the intentions of all pharmaceutical companies. You have people and people, right?
True.
And in a way, if you look in a very cold way, this is a business as well. So of course they want to profit.
Yes.
Yeah, but because you have the pressure of patient associations and
government,
of course, the NHS, like there is also another part that we look at when we work in a contract research organization is the market. How does the market look like for that specific drug or disease? There are many factors, so we cannot turn a blind eye saying this is not a business, this is not profitable.
Yeah.
But I can also say that it is very, very expensive and highly regulated to bring a drug to the market.
I see.
So you need to invest a lot of money, and obviously you want the money back, right? And profits on top.
Of course. Wow. So that is very, very interesting. All these things that you said, and I've learned a lot already with you. But now going back a little bit, you, like me, we're from Brazil. So tell me how a little girl from Brazil ends up doing all these amazing things, becoming a doctor and going to Germany and doing the things that you do. So tell me a little about your childhood, your origins.
Yeah, well, I feel I'm very privileged. I come from a loving family. So my parents, they have over 40 years of marriage.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Quite an achievement.
Yes, and we are 5 children altogether. I'm the eldest of 5. Yeah.
Oh, so you are the responsible one. just like me.
It was such a good experience to have me. They say, let's have 4 more.
Yeah, you set an example. I'm sure you did.
Of course, obviously. Yeah, so we are 3 girls and 2 boys.
Wow.
Yeah, so my mom, she is a music teacher, and my house was a music school when I was born. And actually, my mom, when she graduated in piano, she was pregnant with me. So I tell people that I play piano since the womb, because it was her, the piano, and in between it was me.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a VIP seat when she was playing.
You did indeed. You were her first auditioner.
Exactly. I would say, no, wrong, this is flat. Yeah, so I grew up in this musical environment, and all of us, the 5 of us, we read music, we sing in our family gatherings with my cousins and aunts and uncles and so on. We would always sing together and do plays, and so I had a very happy childhood and lots of plays outside. Yeah, so it was prior to video games in a way.
And internet, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Yeah, so I remember we would take our bikes and go to these places and come back covered in mud, and it was really, and my mom would give us a shower outside, you know, in the garden.
Yeah, watering you, showering with a water hose.
Exactly.
I remember that.
Yeah, so very fun, and I always had a lot of support from my parents. We used to have family reunions in my parents' bed.
Wow.
Usually Sunday morning, so each one of us would wake up and go to their beds, and then we would have a family meeting
nice.
to discuss very important topics.
I'm sure. What's for breakfast, Mom?
Yeah, but actually in one of those family gatherings, I never forget, I turned to my family and said, look, I have thought a lot about this, and I have decided to pursue my master's in another city, in the University of São Paulo.
Yes.
And I would like to run this by you guys. And I remember my father said, you can go anywhere you want. You will always have a place to come back if it doesn't work or if you just feel like. So feel free to go, feel free to come back. And I'm sure you'll end up abroad somewhere.
Yeah.
So wow. I think he was a prophet.
A prophet. I think he was just your dad who knew you well.
Yeah, of course.
Because with dad, we know this thing. With dads, we know these things.
Exactly. So yeah, it was a lot of support and emotional support and financial support, of course.
Yeah.
And all my siblings, they followed some kind of path, and all of them left our hometown. Some came back and left again. So it is really these dynamics that our parents gave us. They said, go do whatever you want to do, what the world needs you to do, and we are here for you.
Oh, that is just lovely, because you can really set yourself apart from many other families. And obviously I'm not saying that my family wasn't good for me, because they were just as well, but when you see the encouragement from the things that you want to do from an early stage in your life, it makes the whole difference. That's why I try to tell my daughter, no, let me rephrase. I try never telling her you can't do, but encourage her to, perhaps if she's not able to do it now, but she find other ways of doing it. Do you know what I mean? So always trying to encourage rather than disapprove, and I think that's the way forward. And I can see that it worked out really well for your family, because I had the chance to meet your brother Felipe, which is he's another doctor, an obstetrician, and but he is also a very competent musician, and I had the chance to listen to you and him playing and singing together, and it was very, very beautiful and touching. So you can really see how much difference that makes in anyone's lives. And coming more into the music, so what have you done in terms of music then? Coming from this background where your mom had all this, music around the home, your dad too, and your uncle, you said?
Yes, and my aunt as well.
And your aunt is also a family of musicians. So tell me, what have you done then to pursue this avenue?
Yeah, so I learned to play piano because my house was literally a music school. Yeah, so there were.
Because your mom taught.
Yes, and she had this music school. She was the owner.
Yeah.
And she had some music teachers working for her. And I remember my first class with my mom, I was 6 years old.
Wow.
But it didn't work because every time it was the time for my class, you said, oh, you know what, I need to go to the supermarket. Or the phone would ring and say, oh, but you know, you're here all the time, so we will find a way. And we never found it. So after a while, she realized that if I were to learn, I needed another teacher. So I started attending classes with one of the teachers in the music school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Instead of your mom.
Instead of my mom, yeah.
It never works as this thing, I'm telling you.
But you know what? So I studied piano seriously until I was 17 years old.
Okay.
Because I wanted, in the beginning, I wanted to become a piano teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And an English teacher.
Right.
Because I learned English early on and as a child.
Sure.
So I just thought, yeah, so that's life. You learn piano, and then when you're old enough, you teach piano. That's it. That's the cycle of life. I have it all covered. I understood everything.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Exactly.
I figured it out. At 17 years old, I'm going to be a piano teacher and an English teacher.
Yes. So
Yeah, we can see it worked out pretty well.
right. Yeah, but luckily.
So when did it all change then?
Yeah, it changed because actually it was at the age of 16 that it changed. Because in Brazil, when you are 16, 17, it's time to enter university, which is super early, right?
Yeah.
As in some countries in Europe, you started way later. So I was 16, preparing to decide what I wanted to do with my life. And I went for a vocational test. And it involved many things like IQ test and emotional and lots of tests. And then the psychologist turned to me and said, so before I give you the results, what would you like to do? I said, oh, obviously, I want to be a piano teacher and an English teacher.
Of course, duh.
I can't believe you have something different in there. So she turned to me and said, oh, I don't even know where to begin, because your tests, they scream biological sciences. Right. And after that, physics sciences, like extremely complex stuff, like experiments and things, living cells, bacteria. And the more she talked about, the more my eyes were open. I said, wow, can I really do that? So I guess at that time, I hadn't been exposed to this world.
Yeah.
And when she told me this was what my soul were telling her, my brain was telling her, then I started studying about it. So in Brazil we have this book about professions.
Yeah, it's called, in a literal translation, it's the Student's Guide.
Student's Guide.
Yeah, it's a booklet that comes out every year, and then talking about all of the courses that are available and what you can do after you graduate. So it's really a guide for students that don't know what they want for sure, and if they do know, they can see pathways afterwards.
Exactly. So I had a look at it, and when I read about biomedicine, then I thought, wow, that's the one. That's it. So I applied for the university. We did this test called vestibular.
Yes.
I passed, and it all began there.
Wow. So your journey started there.
Yes.
There and then.
Yeah.
That was your very first degree.
Yes.
In biomedical sciences.
Biomedical sciences. And I remember in my graduation from high school, I had a teacher, organic chemistry teacher.
Right.
And I admired him so much, and he was so clever, and he had this way to teach, and I was absolutely passionate about organic chemistry. And no wonder, because I studied DNA and proteins, the basis is organic chemistry.
Yeah.
And he turned to me in the very, very end of the party. He said, I will hear a lot about you because you are so talented. You are so clever. I'm sure I will read about you someday. Wow. And coming from him, we were talking about my parents' encouragement. Yes. This man also gave me all the fuel I needed to go on and say, wow, if this man who I admire believes in me, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
It's an inspiration, isn't it?
Yes.
Right there and then. And that's how I think, people in this position can inspire people. And then obviously if you get that inspiration like you did,
Yeah.
because you already, the potential was all there, then you can achieve many things, I'm sure. Right. And so then, still on the subject of music, you are then now part of the London Philharmonic Choir.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
Yeah, this was also an example of if you want something, you do what it takes to have it. Back in Brazil, so first let me just clarify shortly why I started singing. Because I always played the piano all my life until 17, and up to the stage where I could go to university and do the bachelor's in piano.
So did you do a bachelor's in piano?
You can, I didn't.
All right.
Because biomedicine was a full-time job.
Okay.
So I couldn't do both courses in parallel, but I would have if I had enough time in my day.
Yeah.
But I never stopped playing for myself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a piano at home, but because I did have lots of pianos in my first home.
With your parents, I'm sure.
Yes.
Having a skill music, that's not a problem at all.
No, not at all. So I could choose the color, the brand, all size and everything. But when I moved out of my parents' house to pursue my master's, obviously I didn't have a piano. You know, the money I had, I used to eat. Then I saved money to buy a car, and my father helped me as well with the car and so on. So no.
Piano was out of the question.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I got a guitar.
Right.
Yeah, and then I started playing very, very badly. I still
an acoustic guitar.
Acoustic one, basic one. And then I started to sing while I would play the guitar. So I would just do the chords while I sing, and I thought, oh, the voice is an instrument that I can bring everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So I joined a choir in Ribeirão Preto, the city where I did my master's.
Right, in Brazil.
And, yes, and it was a symphony choir, more or less, like amateurs, but we would sing operas, and actually we did Carmen Burana.
Oh, wow.
In an opera style. So we dressed up and we did everything by heart. So it was super hard to memorize everything and to rehearse. So it was amazing. Then they opened a symphony choir, professional one. They would pay singers to sing with the symphony orchestra in that city.
Wow.
And I applied and got it immediately.
Wow.
So I got in and I sang professionally in that choir. Then I went back to my hometown before I moved to Germany. So I spent 9 months there as a lecturer in the university where I graduated.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Teaching?
Evolution.
Wow.
Yeah, the genetic approach of evolution.
Of evolution.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then that was your day job, and then at night you would do sing at the choir.
Yes. Yeah, because then I joined the professional symphony choir of my hometown.
Right.
And my mother was also singing there, so we would go together. Yeah. So music followed me all along. Then I moved to Germany. I joined small ensembles. I sang in a lot of weddings.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, many people got married listening to my voice. I hope they are still married and happy.
I'm sure they still are all married, I'm sure.
Well, and then in Germany, there was these ensembles. Then I moved to Spain. In Madrid, where I didn't spend long enough to join a choir. But after that, I moved to London, and I said, okay, I want to sing professionally again.
Yeah.
In the same way, have my day job, and in the evenings, I join the choir.
Yeah.
But in London, they don't pay for singers. They pay for musicians in the orchestra, but not for musicians. But
not for the singers, you mean?
Not for the singers. They pay only for the instruments.
Right.
Yeah. But it didn't matter, so I said, okay, I want to join a choir in the level of a symphony choir. Yeah. So I looked up on the internet, and I saw there was the symphony choir, the Philharmonia, the Philharmonic, like BBC, like you name it. Like, there are so many very high-level choirs in London. And then I applied for 2 of them. Both replied to me, but in one of them, the symphony choir replied to me saying, well, you need to commit to these schedules because we travel a lot, blah, blah, blah. And when I looked, I said, I cannot do this because I travel for work myself.
Yeah.
So I cannot really
commit
With the Philharmonic choir, you have to commit to the concert. So you have to be there for a percentage of rehearsals in that concert. So you know in advance your calendar and you can organize. So it fits my schedule in a way. So I went there. This was 2 years ago. And I auditioned. And I did not pass.
Did you not?
No.
What happened?
I couldn't read, I couldn't sing, I was so nervous, and I thought, this choir is so above me, I cannot now. So what I did, I joined a paid choir, a chamber choir.
Right.
And I improved my singing, I improved my confidence.
Right.
Way more than my technique, because I had sung before.
Yes.
So I can do this. Because my confidence levels weren't not
there.
Yeah. So after 1 year in this chamber choir, I applied again and I passed.
Wow.
For 1 year.
Wow.
So then last year, I sang. It was my first time in this Philharmonic Choir. And oh my God, so many amazing maestros and orchestras and people and everything. So I had the audition again after 1 year and I passed again for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So now, I can see that my confidence levels are really high up and I feel comfortable with what I do and with my voice and I can go there and deliver.
Yeah.
So the lesson I took from it is don't give up.
Yeah.
It's not now, but it will be later. You just have to work for it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful and inspirational quote there, because everything happens for a purpose, doesn't it?
And in the time they have to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I needed to go to this chamber choir first.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah? Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? I'm sure you learned lots there.
Yes, absolutely.
At least in the way of building up your confidence. That surely happened, I'm sure. Yeah. Because your technique was there. You know, but it's all in goodwill. Talking about the Philharmonic or the choir, tell me a few of your experiences with the choir. You know, things that you experienced that you couldn't experience anywhere else.
Wow. Well, first of all, it's a super international group of people. There are about 300 members.
Wow.
But because you commit to concerts, you don't see 300 people all the time. Yeah, you see maybe 120.
How many people in the choir?
Yeah, around 300.
So when they're all there?
No.
No, that's what I'm saying. You know, in one presentation, how many people are there
in
terms of the singers?
It varies because, for example, on the 18th of January...
You're having a presentation on the 18th of January.
Yes.
So how many people will be there singing?
60 singers.
Oh, 60.
Yeah, for one.
Including you, 60.
Yes, for one piece, and then the other one, 100 singers.
Oh, okay.
So if you have signed up and you were selected for both, you attend all rehearsals.
Right.
But if you are only for one of them, then you see, it will be only half of the rehearsal, or you don't need to come on Mondays, you come only on Wednesdays because we rehearse twice a week.
Right.
So you go to the rehearsal that you are scheduled for.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is how it works. But for example, we have already sung together with the BBC Symphony Choir,
right?
With the Symphony Choir. I forgot the other one. These 4 big ones, plus 4 community choirs in the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh, wow.
So easily there were 800 people singing. Wow. And it was the world premiere of this song. It had been released in New York because the composer is American, so he released there in New York. And we did it, there were no instruments, just voices.
Wow.
And sounds, for example, bells or stones.
Oh, I see.
So that the community choirs did, and voices saying names, and so mimicking the sounds of nature. It was an amazing feeling.
I'm sure. Hard to describe.
Yes. Also, there is something that is about to happen on the 11th of January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we're recording this on the 7th of January.
Yeah.
So we were talking about things that hasn't happened yet. But when this podcast is out, it will all have happened. Yeah. It's all in the past, folks. It's all in the past.
We're traveling in time.
Yeah.
Well, what will have happened on the 11th of January, I will join a recording of 4 songs in Abbey Road Studios.
Wow!
And I would have never imagined such a thing.
Wow. That is, you have to take so many pictures. Wow.
I'll try.
That is amazing.
Let's see if it will be authorized, because they protect a lot of the brand. And,
do they?
But yes,
Right.
I will try to take as much as possible.
Wow. Wow,
Yes,
that is amazing.
those things that happen to me, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would also feel honored just to walk into those doors, because it's a notorious studio. I mean, the Beatles, and not only the Beatles. I think Pink Floyd, maybe. Well, I don't want to say names without knowing it, but of course, they're well known for the Beatles. That is for sure.
Yeah, even the Pope Benedict, the German Pope,
Really?
he recorded there as well. Have you watched Two Popes on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so you will learn this. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Spoilers alert. Once more, we have a spoilers alert.
We should have alerted before.
It's all good. We have a policy of spoilers. That means we spoil anything. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm relieved.
Right. Oh, so that's amazing. That's just really, really great. And talking about the Philharmonica, tell me about your experience with Hugh Bonneville. Because you had a personal experience with it, not just with the choir, but a personal one. So, but tell me about both.
As every year, we presented Christmas specials, and this year it was super special because we had Hugh Bonneville reading the story of Scrooge, from the Christmas spirits.
Yeah, and if you don't know Hugh Bonneville, as I didn't, he is the guy who plays Robert Crawley on Downton Abbey. Which I didn't know, because it's not something that I watch.
And Mr. Brown in Paddington.
Of course, he's Mr. Brown as well. I think you like him more from Mr. Brown.
I know him from there.
So, he's a huge actor. He's not no one, let's say. No, he's a huge actor.
He is, yeah. And so, again, for this specific concert, we had only 60 places. So I signed up and I was selected to sing in this concert. And so we would sing and he would read, and it was like this. So it was so beautiful and magical. And I confess there were some times that my eyes were full of tears because of the way he interpreted the story. And I know the story, but it was the way he told it, like it was him. So it was like, oh God, look at me here listening to him. It was like he was in your living room, you know? Yeah, so after the concert, I was supposed to meet a friend at the stage door. So I texted her and said, yeah, I'm here at the stage door waiting for you. And when I left the door, there was like a bunch of people and he was there. Oh. And then I just stood next to him and I didn't know what to do. I said, should I take a selfie? Should I say it was great? Should I say I was there too? I'm famous too. I just froze and he left and I was there. Okay. Oh. I was very near him. Like, I have no proof of that. No picture, nothing.
Hugh Bonneville just left the building.
He left.
And I have no proof at all.
With his bodyguard.
Oh.
Yes.
Really?
Of course.
He had an entourage.
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
Of course he is.
He should be protected.
Yes, no, of course. Yeah, national treasure, I'm sure. But...
sorry. I do have a picture with him, but sharing the same stage.
Oh, yes. The official picture, I'm sure. I haven't seen that picture yet. But,
it's on his Twitter.
Ah.
Yeah, look for the trombone. You will see my face coming out of the trombone.
Oh my God. How did you manage that?
Oh, it was years of practice.
I'm not sure that particular piece is out yet in terms of the video on YouTube or anything like that.
I don't know they will release at all.
Oh,
I'm
really?
Not sure.
Really?
No, I haven't seen anyone filming it.
Oh, okay. It wasn't recorded for a particular program or something? It must have been.
Don't think so. Well, we don't record everything that we do in the Philharmonic.
Okay.
Well, we do have this picture, and if you go on his Twitter, you will see that he tweeted about that. Yeah. Yeah, but no, I'm not sure. Maybe there is, and I'm unaware of.
Yeah, well, it would have been really worth it looking for that video because as we just coming off Christmas, of course, this was still in January, beginning of January, and I was looking for that video. Mm-hmm. I didn't find, but I found another one which is with him, where we end the Philharmonica. With the song, it is Well With My Soul, and it is a touching piece. The interpretation that he gives, and the narration, because it tells the story behind the lyrics of the song. and it's basically the story. I'm not gonna spoil this one, but it came from a tragedy, a family tragedy, and it's amazing. It's so touching and it's so moving. So it is worth looking for that one if you can't find the Scrooge one.
I will search for it for sure.
So tell me then, who inspires you then? Because you've achieved so much. You've done so much professionally and with your musical career, your singing. So who inspires you then?
Well, that's a great question. I think every specific time of my life, I had a different hero. Yeah, obviously, music came from my mom. Yeah, it's undoubtful. She brought me to the world immersed in music. As I mentioned before, I had this organic chemistry teacher. In my graduation, I had a hematology professor. Oh God, he was so clever. And actually, he inspired me so much that when I finished my master's, I brought him a copy of my thesis. I said, look, I did this because you inspired me to be the scientist I am today. Yeah. Wow. So it was along the way, my grandmother, like people from my family, like very close people. So I think I look up for people that are in my environment more than people that are very far away, like famous actors or celebrities that are far away, because I relate more to normal people, you know?
Yeah.
I'm normal. I want to believe I am. But, you know, when I see that someone achieved something, I say, yeah, I want to do that too. Yeah. And also, for example, in this chamber choir that I joined, I had a colleague, she is an alto too, and we barely spoke because, you sit there, you learn the music and you go home. But in between songs, we were chatting and she said, oh, I just came back from an interview for the release of my book. I said, oh, you're a writer? Yes, I am. And I'm writing the second book. And she told the story. Wow. It's about her personal life, that her father abused her.
Oh my.
Like horrible. And she waited until her father died to write the story. And when she told me this, she became a hero in front of my eyes.
Right.
Because of the things that she went through and overcame. And took all this energy and made something good.
Yeah.
So she wrote this thriller and she said, well, this book is not for anyone. It's called The Girl in His Eyes or something like this. So she wrote from his perspective how he saw her.
Wow.
And what triggered him to abuse her. Wow. I said, this is so beyond what I can deal with. I cannot read your book. I'm sorry, I told her. But then she released the third one, a comedy.
Right.
And I went to the release and there was a raffle and I won the book. So I'm reading the book now and it's really light and it shows me there are so many sides of the same person. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if something absolutely horrible happened to you.
Yeah.
You can get out of it. You can overcome and do something of your life and be happy and be. So these people inspire me every day.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, there was another thing that happened to me last year, 2018, between 2018 and 2019. I went on a trip. I like to travel. Yeah. It's obvious because I live everywhere and I speak a lot of languages. But this time I needed a time out.
Right.
So I took my backpack and I went to Southeast Asia for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I've been to different countries and different cities. And each one of them, I realized something different, which I'm not going into detail now. But I wanted to say one thing about the Philippines. I was there and it's paradisiac. And oh my God, I cannot even explain. In Brazil, we have wonderful beaches.
Yeah.
It's like amazing. But in the Philippines, I don't know. It's like something else.
It's just something better.
Yeah, I cannot even describe. Also, it was my state of spirit, right?
Yeah.
It was this moment of my life.
Can I just interrupt for a moment and ask, was that a spiritual search or was that more of a inner self-knowing kind of search?
I think it was a mixture of both. And It was a way for me to mend my broken heart, because I had just broken up with my partner. We were in a long-term relationship, living together for many years.
I see.
So it was a way for me to look into myself and fix what was broken. First to diagnose what was broken, and then try to put the pieces together and be with myself, which it was amazing, and it is amazing. Until today, I always take time to be with myself, at least 15 minutes a day. That's my time. Nobody touches it.
Thank God I booked this session outside your me time.
Yes, it was after the me time. So I was there in the Philippines, and I went for this massage, and they put the massage places on the beach. So while you're receiving a massage, you can see the sea.
Oh, that must be amazing.
Yes, amazing. And not only that, it was a 1 hour full body massage plus manicure and pedicure.
Oh,
so yeah.
I'm not sure about those, but I'm sure you enjoyed it.
I did. So I was there having the time of my life, and then when the bill came, if you convert the coin, it was about
Into
17 pounds.
Oh,
and I thought, I'm so coming back tomorrow. So I did. Then I was approaching the massage place, and this was the 31st of December.
Right.
So I was approaching the massage place, and the lady who massaged me, she pointed at me and said to her colleague, and I said, "Are you talking about me?" And she said, "Yes, you are the smiliest person on the island." First, I didn't know the word smiliest existed. And I thought, wow, I'm here to mend a broken heart. She is not even seeing my back. And she saw this. And then I said, yeah, and I came back for more today. Are you free? She said, yeah. So then she started massaging me again. And I said, yeah, but who are you here with? I said, no, I came by myself. Really? Yeah, I came by myself. I'm here with myself.
Yeah.
And she said, but who are you spending New Year's Eve with? I said, with everyone in the island. Yeah, I'm going to the party and I will meet people around. And she said, oh, but this is so sad. I said, no, it's not sad. I will be with other people. And she said, would you like to come and have dinner at my place?
Oh, wow.
Like, so what I realized is that she was so open. Not only she, but the Filipino people, they are so open and they are so empathetic, and they look at other people's lives and they want to make them better. So they can see you for what you are.
Yeah. You as you.
Yeah.
As another human being.
Exactly. And then I realized, I am not sad. I'm not depressed. I am in this paradise. I'm having a great moment, spending almost no money for me because I make money in pounds. So I'm spending, this is nothing for me. And still, I think I have problems, So then she comes in this simplicity and say, and she connected with me. I realized when you connect with others, more than when you connect with yourself, you find the healing you were looking for.
True. And that's a beautiful lesson, because it makes me think of all that, because we're both Brazilians and we know the situation of our country, and there is a lot of poverty in Brazil, but you see a lot of wonderful people within that are really poor, but still share the little that they have with others, and they open their hearts, they open their arms, and embrace the others, and they help each other, even though in whatever means they have. And it's just it's the most beautiful lesson that we can learn. It is from those people, because it's just touching, and it just makes you really think that all is not lost. There is still hope for humankind, despite all of the atrocities that still happens nowadays.
Yeah, and that you don't need to have possessions to give.
Yeah.
To the other. You can give what you are. You can give a smile. You can give a word. You can give your ears to listen to someone.
Or a hug, or just being present in the moment as well, isn't it? Because nowadays, sometimes it frustrates me when we stop to talk to a friend or someone you see as a friend, and then you're talking and you are interested in that person because you want to be with him or her and talk and share that moment, and then the person can't take their eyes off the phone. That's not not being present, that's not being there for you, but unfortunately it is becoming more and more normal in a way for this sort of thing to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
So from there, tell me, are you a spiritual person then? Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
I do, and I was born in my family we are all spiritists, so we follow the spiritist teachings. But there was a time in my life, the first years when I was in Germany, that I started questioning it. I don't think I questioned the teachings itself themselves, but I questioned the interpretations and how people see and religion itself. So I was a little bit disheartened. But then, after a while, I started looking at it again and studying more and listening to other people talk about that. And with this trip that I took, that one of the countries I was in was Indonesia, and they in Bali, they are Hindus, right? So the whole city smells like flowers and incense, and they offer their small things to the gods, and
like the offerings. Is it small offerings?
Yes, they every day at 9 a.m. You will see the offerings in front of the house to bless the house, to bless the business, to bless their lives. So they are so devoted, and you feel the energy of the place. I don't know, maybe I was really in the same wavelength and I could capture that. So it was so important for me, after I connected with people in the Philippines, to look inside and say, okay, let me connect with the higher power and with myself. So it intensified something that I had already. The seed has been planted, and until today I study spiritism and I give talks in spiritist centers. I join study groups. I can say I practice spiritism in a way, although some people don't consider spiritism a religion. They say it is moral teachings alongside science and philosophy. Well, I leave it open for whoever wants to consider it whatever they think. But it works for me. And also, for example, in Germany, I lived in a dorm that only for people who worked or studied in the hospital. So because I did my PhD in the hospital university, I had the right to live there. So I shared with other PhD students, with medical doctors and so on. And they came from Afghanistan, from Egypt, from Syria, from Iran, from Libya, from all over. And so I met lots of Muslims, and I heard about Ramadan for the first time, and I learned why they do it and what is the belief, what is the thing behind, and I admired their faith. It's a blind faith. They just give themselves to God. They starve for God, for Allah, which is what I call God. So I started looking at your connection with the higher power from different angles, that there isn't one correct way. It's the way that works for you. So the way that works for me is through spiritism, through meditation, through quiet, and sometimes reading things that lift my spirits. This is what works for me.
Okay. So if we pick the professional, the artist, and the spiritual side of you, and how does that then shape the 40-something kind of girl that you are?
Well, I'm 40. Not something. Don't put more there. Wait.
Oh, I'm also 40, but I'm a 40-something else.
Well, a few months. Oh, well, that's a very tricky question. But because I like complex things, I will do my best to answer that. Well, it's funny that I noticed when I turned 40 that the whole world opened in front of me, in a similar way when biomedicine opened in front of my eyes, and again in 2013 when the pharmaceutical industry opened in front of my eyes. So when I turned 40, I met so many amazing people, and I exposed myself to so many cool things and experiences that maybe if I had done before, I wouldn't have enjoyed as much or taken the lessons as much. So I think everything intensified in the spiritual awareness. In my profession, I am now a freelancer, but I realized that I I work better in a global corporate.
Right.
Rather than
at the local level.
Yes, and also staying at home. I love working from home, don't get me wrong. I love my freedom, and I wake up whenever I want and I go to bed whenever I want. So when the job is done, it's done. I don't have like a 9 to 5 schedule. But I prefer that when everything around me is set up, so I can use all my power to go and have the job done, instead of putting all the pieces together, bringing business and working from home alone then, So this awareness intensified after I turned 40. The music also, I realized my potential and I trust myself more. So everything got better, but in a slower pace. Now I let time unfolds as it has to be. I'm not in a hurry of having things. It has to be like this. So I wait, observe, and then I do. And in that way, the experience is way better because you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Yeah, so this is what I noticed. And it was really strange because I thought it was a myth. When life begins at 40.
Yeah.
Really? For me, it was like, wow, it is true. It happened to me.
Well, I talked about that on one of my previous episodes, so at least I'll recommend you listening to that.
Okay, I'll go there.
Does life really begin at 40?
I'm sure I will relate to it at some point.
So what now? What's ahead of you now then? What the future holds for you then?
Oh, well, I'm letting the universe decide in a way. Well, I am applying for jobs now in the corporate.
Okay.
So it has been amazing this past year as a freelancer. So professionally, I want to go back to corporate.
Okay, so a more consistent 9 to 5 kind of job.
Yeah, but working from home, flexible kind of, yeah.
Flexible still. Flexible still.
It's different times now.
Okay.
And because it's so global, for example, this morning at 8 a.m. I was in a call with Australia.
Yeah.
And in the evening, I'll be in a call with San Diego.
Right.
And it won't change, even from a corporate perspective.
Okay.
So the flexibility has to be there. So this is my criteria.
So this morning you were talking to your future, and then this evening you'll be talking to the past.
Yeah, exactly. I will be in a time machine. I'm in a time machine. Yeah. So I want to go back to, of course, intensify my spiritual search. Yeah, with myself, and connect with people, and go back to my love life.
Of course,
to build something again. Yeah, because it's not over; it's just the beginning.
Absolutely. No, never. You're too young. Not to have a love, not to be loved.
And of course the music part, keep singing and have a piano again. I used to have a piano, by the way.
Oh, right.
Yes, at some point in Germany, yes, in Freiburg, I had a baby grand piano.
Wow.
His name was Chicho. Yeah.
Chicho. Was Chicho a good boy?
Because of St. Francis from Assisi. Because Chicho is short for Francis.
Right, yes.
Francesco,
Chicho.
So he was a baby, right? So Chicho.
Yeah,
so RIP Chicho. Chicho had to stay when I moved to Madrid.
So Chicho is still waiting for you in Germany?
Well, I'm not sure if he's still waiting for me. Maybe I'll have to look for him and find him and fight for him.
I'm sure Chicho is worth fighting for. I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
He'll never break your heart.
Never, ever. I'll let you know when I find him again.
Tell me, I will be dying to know then.
Yeah.
So, Karine, you've achieved so much in your life, your personal life, your professional life, and with your music, your spiritual and self-knowledge search. So tell me, what sort of advice could you give to anybody who is listening to us and thinking, I have this passion, but I don't know how to go about it. So what would you tell them?
Don't stop. Listen to the universe. Listen to yourself. Take some time to connect with yourself and to the higher power, whichever power you believe it's above you, and work for it. Yeah, for example, the choir, the Philharmonic Choir, it pays off every single day. Every day it pays off what I had done 2 years ago, the decision. So make the decision and go for it.
Do you feel like living in a dream every time you step on that stage?
Yeah, every time I go to rehearsals and when I read a new piece of music or when I meet another conductor from some famous place in the world, every single day, and also be grateful. Once I was talking to a friend of mine and she told me she has a jar at home and every morning she wakes up and writes, "I am grateful for," and completes the sentence. And then on the 31st of December, she opens everything. I did this.
Did you?
Yes, and I couldn't wait until the 31st. Yeah, I just said that I'm waiting, I'm more patient, but no, I couldn't wait. And I came into tears when I read the things for maybe 3 months.
Right.
The things that I was grateful for that day. And we don't realize how many blessings we have and how many opportunities we have.
Yeah.
It's just ignored.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's another piece of advice. Have a gratitude jar.
Gratitude jar at home.
At home, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we take every day as granted, don't we? You know, that you just wake up and get up and go about our days. But every day is an opportunity to do something new, something better, to better ourselves and to pursue a better world. Because it's easy to talk about changing the world, but the word starts with us, doesn't it? We have to better ourselves first.
Of course, it starts with us.
Yes, it does indeed. Well, Karine, it's been a delight talking to you. Thank you very much. I've learned so much, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did talking to me. And I wish you all the best in your new projects, in your career, and your music, of course. I'll be looking for the choir when they come out, and then maybe sometime in January, if I can get some tickets. I would love to come and see you.
Thank you, Leo. The pleasure was all mine. And yeah, maybe we will see each other again in another interview.
Wow, well, of course. If you treat me again the way you did today, I'm sure we'll see each other again for season 2 of the podcast, I'm sure.
I will check my diary.
Yes, I'll make sure I'll book outside your 15 minutes me time.
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
Karine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Talking to Dr. Karine Sa was an absolute delight and an honor. I've learned so much with her, and I hope you learned too. However, there are 2 remarks I would like to make following our conversation. The first one is the book that Karine mentioned, The Girl in His Eyes. It was written by a Celtic at heart Londoner descended from a long line of Irish folk called Jenny Ensor, and it is a thriller based on the abuse suffered by her from her father. As Karine mentioned, she has written other books, and if you want to know more about her books, you can visit her website at www.jennyensor.com. Alternatively, you can also look up on Amazon for her books. And talking about Amazon, I just want to make a disclaimer that I'm not getting paid to make any advertise here for Jenny's books. I'm purely just giving you a bit more information because it came up during my conversation with Karine. However, having said that, since the interview has been recorded, I've been in touch with Jenny Ensor, and hopefully we'll get our schedules together and she'll be featured also on a podcast. So stay tuned for that one. The second remark I would like to make, it's about Spiritism, that religion, philosophy Karine mentioned. And if you want to know more about Spiritism, there is a very good movie on Netflix called Allan Kardec. And Kardec is spelled Kardec, Kardec. If you look up for Allan Kardec on Netflix, the movie will come up. It's a Brazilian movie, however, there are English subtitles, and it shows the life of its founder and how Spiritism came about to be the religion, science, philosophy that it is today. So I recommend you to go and watch that movie if you want to know more about the spiritual side that Karine was telling us about. As always, and if you haven't done already, you can follow me on Instagram at the 40something_guy podcast. Alternatively, you can also follow me on Facebook at the 40something guy podcast. But before I go, and for the first time at the 40something guy, I would like to leave you all with the beautiful, beautiful voice of Dr. Karine Sa, recorded live at the Rudolf Steiner House, London, in a completely improvised performance. I would like to introduce Dr. Karine Sa as she sings Gabriel's Oboe.
We